Taylor Lewan and Robert Woods have been cut by the Tennessee Titans. Will the Steelers pursue them? I will talk about that in just a second. Larry Ogunjobi has said that he wants to re-sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers, breaking down his comments and if the Steelers should re-sign him. And then I'll be reacting to Daniel Jeremiah's pick for the Steelers in his 1.0 NFL mock draft. It's all coming up here. But first here, we're going to get into Taylor Lewan. We're going to get into this guy we've been talking about for weeks here on the show. He has really been complimenting Mike Tomlin, the Steelers organization. It seems like he wants to be a Steeler. So here are some of his, here's his profile, right? He's a 3-time Pro Bowl left tackle, 3 years in a row. And then he suffered 2 ACL tears in the last 3 years. That's really the big bugaboo with him, is that he has been hurt. And then he's also getting older. So you combine the injuries with the age. And some people say Taylor Lewan is not worth the risk to bring in at left tackle. You just can't trust him to stay healthy, and you can't trust him to play at that Pro Bowl caliber level that he used to play at earlier on in his career. And if you take a look at the Steelers' offensive line depth chart right now, you got Dan Moore Jr. left tackle, Chukwuma Okorafor at right tackle. I think what they're going to do is they're going to cut Chukwuma Okorafor because you can save over $10 million if you make him a post-June 1st cut. So I think that's a pretty easy cut. Okorafor was the worst graded offensive lineman on the Steelers O-line last year. And then, you try to fill in either that left tackle or right tackle spot with someone in free agency, or what I would do is get somebody in the draft and maybe move Dan Moore Jr. over to right tackle, because I actually think he's more suited to be a right tackle than a left tackle. And the thing with Lewan is that it would be one thing if he was trying to get like kind of a cheaper contract on kind of a prove it kind of deal, like maybe a $7 or $8 million deal, but he wants over $10 million per season. He wants somewhere in the range of like $11 to $12 million, and that's quite a bit for a guy that's had the injuries that he's had at his age. And even when he was healthy last season, he wasn't playing at the Pro Bowl caliber level that he was earlier in the season. So the big question for the Steelers is this move worth the risk? For me, it's not. I don't think that the Steelers should go ahead and sign a guy that's had these kinds of injuries that you can't really trust to perform at a high level anymore. I think that it's best suited for the Steelers to go in the draft and draft a tackle early on. But let me know what you think in the comment section right now. Should the Steelers sign Taylor Lewan? Type HY for hell yes, or type HN for hell no. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So whenever you get an ad break, go ahead and go into the comment section, find that pinned comment, and answer today's question. So Taylor Lewan wasn't the only Titan to get cut yesterday. The Titans actually made a lot of cuts, but another one we're talking about for the Steelers is Robert Woods. Now, Robert Woods had a very disappointing 2022 campaign, and quite frankly, most of the wide receivers for the Tennessee Titans did. But this is what Steelers Wire had to say about the potential of the Steelers targeting Robert Woods. Woods' production might not be elite, but if the Steelers could bring him in bring him in on a reasonable contract, he would provide an excellent example for guys like George Pickens, Diontae Johnson, and Calvin Austin III. But personally, guys, I'm not a huge fan of signing Woods. He was just not good last year, period. He's more of an outside receiver than a slot receiver, so you're not really going to put him in the slot. If you sign him, you're probably putting him outside and sliding Diontae Johnson to the inside. But I think that even if you want to go that route and sign an outside wide receiver, Robert Woods isn't the first guy on your list. And I really don't know what he's going to be asking for on the free agency market. My guess is it'll probably be a relatively cheap contract, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be a team-friendly contract per se. And if you take a look at the Steelers' wide receiver depth chart right now, I think the Steelers are sitting pretty good. Diontae Johnson did a really good job at getting open in 2022. Had some drop problems, some concentration drops, but I still am a believer in him. He is somebody that is a very crucial piece to the Steelers offense, especially on third down. George Pickens, a blooming superstar in this league, in my opinion. I am a big believer in him. And then Steven Sims, restricted free agent. Maybe he'll be back, maybe he won't. Calvin Austin III, coming off of an injury. You hope that he can come in and be a really good receiver. I think the Steelers will add a wide receiver, either in free agency or in the draft. I just don't think Robert Woods is the type of guy that fits what the Steelers are looking to do. I think they'll try to go get like a bigger slot guy to kind of complement Calvin Austin III, try to give them a different flavor at the slot wide receiver position. I don't think outside wide receiver, especially Robert Woods, makes sense for the Steelers. But let me know in the comments section what you think about Robert Woods. Should the Steelers sign him? Type 1 if you think yes, or type 0 in the comments section if you think no. All right, so next topic here, Larry Ogunjobi. Somebody that's hitting the free agent market, pretty decent player. It seems like he wants to re-sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He really likes working for Mike Tomlin. He likes working with the guys that he's been working with on the defensive line. And this is what he had to say in an interview for Steelers.com. And he's talking about Mike Tomlin specifically. It's Tomlin's level of detail and understanding, his leadership. He played a pivotal role not only in my own personal development, but the development of the entire team, along with the coaches, support staff, and ownership. It's a first-class organization that's been run the right way for a really long time. So it really seems like Larry O wants to rejoin the Steelers, but the question is, should the Steelers want to bring him back, especially because PFF is projecting that he's going to want quite a large contract. But, Larry Ogunjobi, very solid player. I like Larry O. I think that he's a good player, solid starter, and if the Steelers can sign him back for a very reasonable contract, I would be all for bringing him back as that 5 technique there on the Steelers defensive line. Last year's PFF grade was about league average, right? It was not necessarily good. It wasn't necessarily bad. It was 61.7, which is a pretty average grade according to Pro Football Focus. 61st best defensive interior lineman in the National Football League. And right now, Pro Football Focus as well projects that he's going to be making $10 million per year over the next 3 years. And it's like, if you're the Steelers, you're already paying TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. You're going to be probably signing an extension for Alex Highsmith. You're paying Minkah Fitzpatrick. This defense is already so expensive. Are you really willing to commit to $10 million per season for a guy like Ogunjobi that's pretty much just putting up average production year in and year out? I'm not sure. But let me know in the comments section right now. Should the Steelers bring back Larry Ogunjobi? Type R if you think they should re-sign him, or type L if you think they should let him walk. Personally, I think they should let him walk unless he's willing to take a more team-friendly deal. Doesn't seem like he's going to, so my answer for this one is going to be let him walk, address the position elsewhere. So finally here on the Steelers Rumors video, I'm going to be talking about Daniel Jeremiah came out with his first NFL mock draft of the draft season, and he had a very interesting pick for the Steelers at number 17. I know my man Dominic Schrader is going to love this pick. Darnell Wright, the right tackle from the Tennessee Volunteers, 17th overall. Now, I like Darnell Wright. I think he's a good player. You look at his PFF grade last year, 71.4. That's pretty good. That's good for 110th in the country. And he's just a massive human being, guys. 6'6", 335 pounds. You can't go through him. It's hard to go around him. Your best bet is to try to get him off balance. And he really did a great job at the Senior Bowl. There was only really one edge rusher that really got the best of him consistently. That was Will McDonald from Iowa State. But other than that, Darnell Wright was arguably the best tackle prospect at the Senior Bowl. This is what Daniel Jeremiah had to say about the Steelers taking the massive volunteer tackle. Wright's a plug-and-play right tackle for an offensive line that needs to be overhauled to protect last year's first-round pick, Kenny Pickett. And I don't necessarily disagree with Daniel's logic here, but I just think it's a bit too early for Wright. I think at number 32, this is a great pick. Say you take a really good cornerback at 17 and Wright's still there at 32. I think this is a bloody fantastic pick, but for me, number 17 overall for a right tackle, not a left tackle, is something that I'm just not willing to do. That's not something that I think the Steelers are probably going to be willing to do. I guess we'll see, but if the Steelers are going to draft a right tackle like a Darnell Wright or a DeJuan Jones, I don't think it should be in the first round. It should be on day 2. So go ahead for me right now in the comment section and grade Daniel Jeremiah's pick for the Steelers here. Darnell Wright, right tackle for the Tennessee Volunteers, A, B, C, D, or F. My answer for this is going to be a B-. I like the player. I like the fit. I just don't like where he takes it. I think it's a bit of a reach.